Now it's time to get to the drama on the field. The Week 0 games are here. And we're going to start with the Big Ten opener for Illinois as they welcome Nebraska. The Cornhuskers giving points here, but you'd never know it based on the demeanor of both head coaches this week. First-year Illini head coach Scott Bielema rather effusive regarding his squad. Fourth-year Nebraska head coach Scott Frost a bit cold, but that's to be expected with Frost, who's feeling the heat after going 12-20 in his first 3 seasons. After all the hype surrounding him following that undefeated season at UCF in 2017, Frost heads into this season with an uncertain future if the Cornhuskers can't start winning some games. The line has expanded a little bit. It started at 6.5. The over-under has also tightened up a bit. Brett Bielema back in the game, his first game as an FBS head coach since 2017 with Arkansas, replacing Lovie Smith, who of course was fired last season. Illinois hasn't won more than 6 games in a decade. Now the two teams have played some high-scoring affairs, and if you bet the over in any of the last 3 meetings, you were cashing out. The over's hit in all 3 Nebraska-Illinois games since 2018 under Scott Frost, but notable as well, Illinois 5-1 to the under in their past 6 home games. For more on this game and how you should be finding the value in it, let's bring in 2 guys who know all about finding value. Well, we have Sportsline's Emory Hunt, and we had the Wizard of Odds. Kenny White is set to join us. This Nebraska-Illinois game, of course, putting Scott Frost on the hot seat a little bit as we enter the start of the season. Over the past 5 seasons, Illinois 10-34 in conference play, and I guess the good news with that is they always start the season well. 9-1 straight up in their past 10 season openers. You guys, you saw the spread, you saw the total, you're both here, that's good. Kenny, what's the best bet here for you?
Yeah, I'm going to go under in this game with Brett Bielema, now the head coach of the Illini. You showed those scores the last 3 years between these 2 teams. This is the opening week, though. I'm hoping offenses are off just a little bit. The continuity isn't there. And with Brett Bielema, obviously he's going to run that power run game, 2 tight ends. He's gonna play a methodical pace. There's no rush, no hurry in his offense. Plenty of players back on defense, 12 guys. So Brett Bielema comes in with a Lovie Smith well-recruited football team. Lovie Smith upgraded the recruits at the Illini, and I think that Brett Bielema is going to be the right guy to mold that talent into a winning formula. Nebraska on the other side, Scott Frost's team, they ran the ball 60% of the time last year. Only 140 snaps a game, which is average in college football. So not expecting up-tempo. They do return 10 players on the defensive side of the football, Nebraska does, and 6 of those guys are super seniors that wouldn't be around if it wasn't for COVID. Now, the other thing is Scott Frost is being penalized for practicing when you're not supposed to. And it could be up to 50 practices that the Huskers had that they weren't supposed to have. So this team may be more ready than any other team in the country. I'm on the under. I do like Illinois +7, but it does scare me that Nebraska's practiced that much. I'm expecting a low-scoring game, points at a premium. Give me the Illini +7 and under.
I agree with Kenny that the game will go under because both teams, I feel like, will play a really good game up front along both sides of the line of scrimmage. Well, I like Nebraska to win the game and cover these points. It's because I trust Nebraska's quarterback situation with Adrian Martinez more so than Brandon Peters on Illinois' side. And keep an eye out for Emory, the outstanding wide receiver for Nebraska who comes over from Montana. I cover a lot of FCS football, and Toure is a legit game breaker. He should help ease some of the pressure off the offense and the loss of Wan'Dale Robinson, who's now at Kentucky. So I do think Nebraska's offense is a little bit more trustworthy right now than Illinois. So I do like Nebraska to cover, but I do agree with Kenny that this game would definitely go under.
Sportsline's Emory Hunt and the Wizard of Odds, Kenny White, joining us to talk about Nebraska, Illinois. Brett Bielema, 3-0 against the spread versus Nebraska from his time at Wisconsin. And we mentioned the pressure on Scott Frost. 12-20 straight up under Scott Frost since 2018. 4th worst win percentage in the Big Ten in that span. 4-11 straight up on the road under Frost. 3rd worst road win percentage in the Big Ten since 2018. Meanwhile, Chip Kelly era entering year 4 over at UCLA, and the Bruins huge home favorites at home to Hawaii on Saturday. But here's the grain of salt. They haven't won a season opener during Kelly's tenure. But the year Kelly was hired, they did beat Hawaii. It's their only meeting in program history, and they won by 33 points in a game where Josh Rosen threw 5 touchdowns. In his last 5 seasons as a head coach, Kelly's teams have not been over 500. His teams have averaged 3.6 wins a season in that span. Different numbers as a college head coach, of course. He had those great years at Oregon between 2009 and 2012 where his teams never won less than 10 games each season. So let's talk about UCLA and Hawaii with Sportsline's Emory Hunt and the Wizard of Odds Kenny White. Senior quarterback Dorian Thompson-Robinson says, hey guys, we got something special going on here at UCLA. Now, Chip Kelly has had a tendency to play these non-conference games like glorified spring games, but with something to prove. Do you think that that changes this season? And if so, how are you playing this one, Emory?
You know, I don't think it changes as much because this is a really good opponent in Hawaii. So it may alter some things from a personnel standpoint, but I do like their offense. Dorian Thompson-Robinson, I think, is a guy that's very underrated nationally. When you watch him play last year against Colorado, against USC, you're like, man, this guy can really put the football where he wants to. And if that consistency yields itself to him being the same player in 2021, they can definitely make some noise in the Pac-12. So I'm laying the 17.5 with UCLA. But because Hawaii is a really good opponent, their running back Calvin Turner Jr. is one guy that reminds me a lot of Alvin Kamara. He can do a lot of different things from the tailback. He's a wildcat quarterback. He can go down the field as a receiver and make plays. So he's going to keep them in the ball game. But I definitely will say it'll go under, but lay those points with UCLA.
You know, I don't have a big spread difference on this, and it was kind of a feel. I went over with this game for the fact that Chip Kelly loves to play up tempo. Last year, 151 plays a game, were 11 more than the NCAA average. And they ran the ball 67% of the time last year, which I don't think you see this year with Dorian Thompson-Robinson being a senior. I think they open it up a little bit more. I think you're going to get to see that spread option offense, but Dorian Thompson-Robinson is an outstanding quarterback. Defense has always been the struggle at UCLA. On Hawaii, on Todd Graham on that side of the football, he's an offensive guy. He returns his quarterback, Chevion Corderio. This is a team that passed more than they ran the football last year, and I think that continues with the Hawaii team, especially playing from behind in this football game. So not a big difference in my number from the total, so I'll lean to the over. I made UCLA 20 in the game. I thought the best play, though, on them would be to lay the 10 in the first half because they do have LSU on deck next week in Pasadena, a game they could be looking forward to. I think they come out fast and furious, build up a big lead, and then you get Hawaii to score some garbage points late. So give me UCLA first half -10 and over 67.
Both guys taking UCLA, differing on the over-under. Sportsline's Emory Hunt, the Wizard of Odds, Kenny White, joining us to talk about the game between Hawaii and UCLA. UCLA getting their largest spread as a favorite in any game since they were favored by 24 versus Hawaii. Back in 2017, since that game, UCLA 4-11 against the spread as a favorite, 1-7 against the spread as a touchdown favorite. And you see Chip Kelly's career as a college head coach, 44.7 points per game averaged at Oregon from 2009 to 2012.
Want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis. No yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.